Hey everybody, what's happening? Tom Leyden coming to you from the Muffin House in Islington, Westwood, Massachusetts. And I'm joined today by Kerry Aglugub from KMA Web Design. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Yeah, thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Totally. This is fantastic because this is going to cover a number of different things. I'm so excited that you and I have worked together in the development of the lfleaders.com website, which is the website for the Lessons from Leaders series, presented by Denim Savings. It's been great, and it's been my first opportunity to work with you. So, number one, thank you very much. It's been a fantastic experience for me. I hope it's been that way for you, too, and I haven't been too much of a pain in the butt.
No, not at all. No, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, no, it's a great project. So I feel fortunate to be able to work on it with you.
You were one of the first people who were really rolled into the project and became part of the collaborative that's bringing it to the finish line. So that's happening. Gosh, I guess in less than 10 days. The first event is the 3rd, the second event is the 10th, and the third event is the 18th. So we can use me as a classic example. And of course, I want to take a couple steps back and figure out how you got to do what you do on a daily basis. But you know, when you work with a local company, a small business, a big business, and you look to develop what they're trying to achieve online, what have you learned about what are the most important first steps? Because I think many small businesses are worried about taking that first step.
Yeah. So the first step is always to get to know what the business is all about. So we always take a strategic approach to any project. So we have a kickoff session where we go through the business and what their goals are, what they do, and get into all the details. So that really sets the project up for success. We've been doing this. I've been doing web design for 22 years. I've had my company for 9 years. So we have a process that works really well, runs smoothly, and we, try and get the best result we possibly can for our clients.
When you say 22 years, that takes us back to, early 2000s, which at that point, kids, was really only about like 5, 6, 7 years that the World Wide Web as we know it today, the internet as we know it today, took off, and websites became such a major part of anybody's commerce and communication. So let's go there now. What drew you into this business? What's your expertise? What got you down this lane where you're now one of the best web designers here in Massachusetts?
So I was a liberal arts major in college and wasn't quite sure what to do after college. My first job was working at a law firm, so I thought that might be my path. And then I found a program in web development, and it really sparked my interest. I did that, and I also got internships like kind of early on doing hands-on, coding and web development work. And it's creative. It's something I really enjoy. So it's been a good path.
Very much a learn on the go business, I would imagine. There's so much that changes. Can you think back to when you started, some of the challenges that you faced at that time and some of the things that have been addressed that you look back and say, oh my gosh, thank God we don't have to worry about that anymore?
Yeah. When I started, I was hand coding websites, so a lot has changed since then. The tools have all changed, the platforms. One of the platforms I like most is WordPress, and it's really flexible in terms of design and functionality. There's so many tools out there, and the web has really matured over all these years, and I've seen that happen.
Well, you've become a hot commodity. Not only do you do lfleaders.com, which is the website for Lessons from Leaders, but you have a number of other local companies that you've worked with. You got a little roster of those that people can go check out?
Yeah, so we just launched the Bubble and Brook website over the summers. That was great. Foundation for Westwood Education just rebranded. They have a completely new vision, which I know you've highlighted them.
Yep.
Vico Restaurant in Norwood, an awesome Italian restaurant. Heritage Financial, who's based in Westwood.
Sure. Yeah, got to know them pretty well with Chuck involved, with Chris and doing the party up at the Bean Farm in August. So scaling the business, growing it, taking it beyond just yourself. I know that I've worked with some of your teammates. It's not always you who I work with when we're getting a page approved or getting tweaks made to the website. That's a process too. At what point did you say, this is beyond what I can handle and this is something that I need to grow and bring on more people with me?
Yeah, that happened when I had to turn down projects because I just didn't have the bandwidth. So that's when I started growing my team and looking for help. And it really has helped me grow because now we can take on a lot more work and projects, and we can support businesses better with a larger team.
What do you look for when you are looking to scale? Because as a person who's just reaching that stage, I actually just hired my first person. It's hard to, number one, delegate, and number two, trust somebody that they're going to do it the way you want it to be done, because this business is your vision. And now all of a sudden you're bringing somebody else in. Walk us through that process of some of the decisions you had to make and some of the fears you had to overcome.
Yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking to make that leap. I think being organized, having your processes in place. When I first made my first hire, I would have like a day by day. I would make a video every day for her to, kind of take her through the tasks for the day. And I think putting that time in the beginning with someone really makes a huge difference. So it's the training, but also having things very organized, the right tools for project management, and yeah.
You're the second person that has told me specifically that as you grow, particularly in this day and age of being able to shoot an easy video and share it with somebody, take any to-do that you know for the good of the business would be good to take off your plate and just shoot a how-to. Shoot a video saying, like, you know what, when I send a thank you note to a client, this is the manner in which I do it. 1, 2, 3, here are the steps. And it is hard because at the time, you just want to get it done. And you know that you can get it done quickly, so it does add that extra time. But in the end, to your point, I think hopefully, I'm not even there yet, but I hope that it will help and it becomes something that you don't have to worry about and you can trust somebody. So as you think about the lessons that you want to teach kids, right? Because you're going to be a part of this program. You're going to be at Westwood High School on one of these nights, the 3rd, the 10th, or the 18th. I can't remember specifically. But have you thought about the messages that you're going to give to the kids? What do you tell somebody who aspires to go into this field?
I think getting practical experience is really important. So whether it's internships or, professional experiences like jobs, doing the hands-on work, I think the key is just to get started and not to be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how you learn. So yeah, it's a really interesting industry to be in. It's also in demand.
And I would guess that now, even more so than ever, you're getting kids who come in with qualifications that they didn't have 10 years ago because it's in their DNA. They've grown up with this. They know the basics of posting to social media, of, the essence of needing to create content. And that wasn't necessarily the case 22 years ago. So do you find that your young demographic is a pretty good target for somebody who you're looking to bring on board, or any bigger company that might be looking to bring a young kid on board? Do they fit the bill almost more easily than somebody who might be 50 like me?
Yeah, I would say so. I think, younger people are flexible. They're willing to learn. And we're pretty established. So we have our processes and we have like a good framework in place for everything we do. So I think that helps too. But yeah.
I need to brag on you a little bit, and I should have done this a little bit earlier, but you yourself have been within the pages of Westwood Living, because congratulations, you were named the Businesswoman of the Year by the Neponset River Regional Chamber of Commerce in 2022. That fantastic news. That was great. It had to come as a surprise. How did you learn about that? And, toot your horn a little bit. Why do you think you were the person who was chosen?
So that was an awesome surprise. I got an email from Tom O'Rourke, the president of the Neponset River Regional Chamber. I've worked with Tom really closely on his website redesign when the chamber was celebrating the 125th anniversary of the chamber. So to help him with a website for that kind of major milestone was awesome. And then the chamber was fortunate to get grant funding from the state. And that happened twice, and I was able to work with about 14 local businesses thanks to funding that the chamber was able to get for us.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't even know that component of the story. That's great. So as somebody approaches you and wants to develop a website, here's something I learned, something I noticed in the way you tried to educate me. There's a lot that I don't even think about. There's a lot I don't even know, and I just want to get a website up. I'm like, listen, Kerry, we got to get this going. I have a deadline. I need to get this up. And you're like, okay, got it. But you should also think about A, B, and C. Walk people through, from your perspective, what that A, B, and C is that most people like me who are in a rush to get a website up aren't thinking about.
Yeah, so we definitely have a process that we follow. It starts with that strategy session where we get to know the business and basically what we're building. So we work out all those details. And then content comes next. So we need to know, what we're designing around. So we get, have work with the business to get content for the website. Then we put that into what we call a prototype site, which is like a black and white version of the website, which just helps us structurally figure out what we're building. From there, we do a website mock-up. We use a tool called Figma, which is a really nice design tool. And that is more of a static look at the website, and we go through kind of a revision process with the client.
And what's been comforting to me is that you are obviously fluent in the language and able to explain the various steps as they come up. So everybody's going to be at a different point of their development. But for me, I've already had that GoDaddy site, and some other people may have worked themselves. I mean, go back in our day, you're younger than I am, but go back to, remember GeoCities, and remember all of these web building sites that people used to work. So there's a lot of self-service, and I had a lot of self-service. And what I've enjoyed about working with your team is that there are big things that you have to do. I can't do it. I have no idea how to do it. But we get to a point, and we're there now, where there are little things that I could fix. And you do ultimately give some access to the site so that I can go in there and say, like, oh, I got to fix this typo, or I need to change this person's title. I like that. And do you find that most people want to have access to their site so they can make those changes?
Yeah, it really depends. Some, business owners are happy for us to just make the changes. They're so busy running the business that they don't really have time to like remember how to do things. And then there's other clients who really like making, having access and making updates. So it depends.
It is a difference because where I'm at right now is, having created my own website that does the magazine, right? That goes through GoDaddy. I can change anything at a moment's notice. And you have that anxiety like, oh, I got to do that. But then there are just certain things that I just don't know how to do. And I'm still at the point, you referenced it in your last answer, that I'm learning how to do it. So every time I want to do something, I got to call up the how-to and go through the guide and the step-by-step. And they're like, how does this go? How does this work? But we'll get there. And maybe that's another thing that I could delegate. So let's talk about Westwood in general. How long you been here? What drew you to this town? And what's your experience been like?
So I grew up in Westwood. So I've been here a long time. I went off to college and then came back and bought a house and started my family here. So I grew up on, the other side of town, and now I'm in Islington. So I love Westwood. It's been a great place. The schools are great. I have 3 kids.
It's funny because I showed somebody last night a photo that I randomly saw on the web. And I said, oh, this will be funny. I'll get a kick out of this. I'm like, hey, come take a look at this photo. Where do you think that is? It was a shot of the old corner of 1A and East Street. Right here, right where the Muffin House is. And she looked at it. She's like, I have no idea. I'm like, that's where the Muffin House is. She's like, get out of here. And it was only 3-4 years ago. So you talk about being on the Islington side of town. What do you think about all this? This development has been ridiculous, but I love it, and there's so much to do here.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, to have all of this, to walk to Neroli, Muffin House, the library, CVS, I mean, it's great. It's great for the kids. It's good for us.
Do you have a vision of, as a lifer? I mean, is this where the Aglugub family is going to be long term?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we're happy here. This is where, my roots are, and yeah, it's really is a great place to live.
So, did you go to Westwood High?
I did.
All right, so you're during these Lessons from Leaders series, you're going to be right back in that cafeteria and harkening back memories of standing in line and having food. So that'll be kind of cool. See, I don't even have that experience. I grew up in Connecticut, so it'll be much different to experience it up here. But that's great. I can't thank you enough for your help with me, for your engagement with this program, which I think will make a big difference. And just, I love watching people who you get to know and like succeed. So congratulations to you on everything that you've achieved so far. And how can people get in touch with you and learn more about what you do?
So you can go to my website, kmawebdesign.com, and all my details are there. Thank you, Tom.
Sure. I'd imagine you built that website.
Yes, we did.
All right. That's the way you get in touch with Kerry Aglugub. So go ahead and do that. You will be happy that you did if you're in the market to build a new website and really take your game on the internet up to a next level, because it's not just laptops or desktops. It's mobile. And it's a lot of stuff you don't even know about yet. Trust me, I'm still learning. As always, if you have somebody else who you think might be a great conversation for me to have and share with the public, please reach out. Leyden@bestversionmedia.com is the email address to send that person's name and contact info, and I will run with it from there. But for now, I'm Tom Leyden. Thanks so much for listening to the Westwood Living Podcast Network.